Good morning, Vietnam.
But wow, that was weird. Didn't sound anything like Robin Williams. That kind of sounded like kind of like a gay Robin Williams, actually.
And I always
which is a
thought
close,
Robin Williams was gay.
Which is kind of close. You know what? It's kind of like in The Birdcage when he walks like John Wayne. I just had a realization. I never realized Robin Williams talked that way.
Hello, this is Captain Poodle speaking. Are you ready to find love?
Yes, ahoy, matey.
Love.
Do-do-do-do.
Exciting and new. Go online. They're catfishing you.
Shocker.
Fiancé.
Soon you'll be flying to parts unknown.
90-day Fiancé.
Marrying someone you only met on your phone.
Be they French or Chinese, a brand new K1 visa's the key.
Ooh, the key to what, Poodle?
To love. It's 90-day gate. Let's love.
I saw Good Morning Vietnam as a child. Probably not the best.
I've never seen it, but I'm
not the best idea of war angst.
I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming it's not like.
No, I don't know why I watched it.
This explains why you're so stressed all the time.
But I kind of understood it. I understood that like war fatigue at the time, even as a 10 or 11-year-old.
I don't think so. And somebody who was a soldier in our armed forces right now
I'm saying, as a child, I thought I could know.
Well, you were wrong. You were quite wrong. Quite wrong. But
maybe I just sympathized with him.
Maybe.
And him being a bright light to all his listeners.
I should watch that movie. I probably would like it.
I remember literally nothing about it except for Good Morning Vietnam.
I will. It's based off a real person, right?
Yeah. The whole story, I think, is real. I say good morning, y'all, because it's morning here.
It's morning. Welcome to 90 Day Gays.
Welcome to 90 Day Gays. It's
the other way.
It's morning for me. It's like somewhere in the asshole of the afternoon for you in Houston or something.
It is, but my computer is still on Pacific time, so it feels like it's morning, which confuses me. I need to change it. I realize it's like your wall clock, but I don't know how to change it.
That's a little bit of validation for me. This is part two.
Part two. You know what? We usually say this for the end, but I'm just going to say real quickly, in case people turn off their things, that another part of speaking of America and civic duty, y'all, if you haven't voted, it is time to vote. It is time to figure out as Poodle says, your voting plan. You've got like a week left.
A week and a day.
A week and a day. Voting is so important. We mentioned our friend Emily Sussman, who has a political podcast, said, please let your listeners know that Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania are states where the vote, it's still people are having, I don't know, confusion, but it's just hard to get the vote out. And we really need to get the vote out in those states. So if you're in those states and you want to volunteer, you can still do that kind of stuff. Just do a quick Google search. Don't listen to us. We don't know where to go. But
vote.org.
Yeah, you can't bitch if you don't vote.
I think too, you guys, because we're in the middle of COVID, we don't know if things are we're in our probably the third surge we're having, and especially the states Maddie just said, they're having a lot of problems with COVID right now. So if you can vote early, and don't pull over.
And don't pull over. Vote early. And don't pull over. So, yeah, vote early because, number one, if you're going to vote early, you will have hopefully the lines will be a little shorter and you'll have, if you're worried about COVID, you'll have a little bit less. And bring your own pen. That's what we've been telling people. Bring your own pen. And guess what? If there's a wait in the line to vote, what can they do, Poodle? listen to 90 Day Gays.
Exactly.
If they're caught up on 90 Day Gays, they can listen to our past episodes of Sweet Tea because Southern Charm is coming on Thursday. It's coming back on Thursday the 29th. Our Sweet Tea podcast is going to be dropping in a different feed, y'all. Carl's wife is going to email us and say, where's Sweet Tea? Carl, I can't find my shows. I can't find my stories with the gay ones. Carl, I need help. Carl,
she is going to email us.
Down at Auto Trader and come help me, Carl. Shooter, go get your daddy. Okay, so don't be a Carl's wife and say,
stop licking your nuts.
Don't be a Carl's wife and ask where the fuck is. It's going to be on its. We're going to put the first episode this Friday on our 90 Days feed just to entice you. But jump over to the link in the show notes and download that now.
DBACW. Don't be a Carl's wife.
Don't be a Carl's wife.
I'm so happy you pimped our show while talking about voting, and I feel dirty.
Hey, I feel fine. Capitalism is an American value.
Absolute slut.
Capitalism is an American value. Hey. Speaking of capitalism,
husky from last night.
You know, I think it's funny you say the word husky because I thought you have a trigger about that.
I have a word husky that's like it's a weight thing. But like my voice is husky, different, raspy. I should say it's probably a better word. I prefer raspy. Raspy now reminds me of raspberry. Oh, I'm all over the place.
Oh wow,
raspberry.
Someone's coffee's kicking in.
True. Let's talk about this show. Let's jump into Deavan and Jihoon. Y'all, every time we see Deavan, it's like her face is just shifting. And I know it's because the confessionals are filmed later and she's had her lips done and a little bit of fillers. But her looks are changing into some kind of gross reality star. And I just want to put it right out there that I'm officially kind of done with her and I would rather not talk about her, but we have to.
Well, she's been problematic on social media.
Oh, yes.
Here's the deal is that I'm all for plastic surgery, y'all. But once you start to get too much of it, you don't look unique anymore. You just look like every housewife that gets too much plastic surgery. So I definitely think there's a line.
She's like not even 30 years old.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. She doesn't even know how she's going to look.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a confessional now. If you look at her Instagram now, it's even like
she looks like a walking Instagram filter.
She's like Larissa. She looks totally different.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway. But do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy.
Just don't think you have to look like a housewife.
Yeah.
And y'all, I don't know if you can hear the dog downstairs is very upset.
The dog is barking, y'all. The dog is
and
barking.
I've got my windows closed and the dog is barking and I'm about to lose my fucking mind.
Jake officially said he hates this fucking dog.
I screamed, I hate this fucking dog. And I know it's not the dog's fault. The dog is having anxiety, but the dog barks every time something moves outside.
It's a very that dog has a miserable life and needs to just be put down so it can rest. Just give it some peace,
or just taken off to a place where
a farm
they can live,
to go to an actual farm
and bark at other things.
Exactly, that's
so
what
I don't have to get involved.
All right,
Deavan and Jihoon, you guys,
take your wife to work day, everybody.
Which apparently is not a thing in Korea.
Not a thing at all.
They're all when there's a woman comes and says, "This is my wife," they're all like, "There are no wives here. Who brings their wife to their work?"
They were very, very confused.
Very confused. This is a no wife zone.
I was like, but didn't Mike Brady do that? Didn't Carol go with Mike to? I thought that's what happened.
I feel like it's just a separate life for people. In America, we think that's totally fine. But I can understand Jihoon is kind of like, he even said, I feel embarrassed.
Well,
because the way Deavan acts, she kind of belittles him in front of other people.
The thing with Deavan is, You know how like Deavan thinks she has kind of manners and social intelligence, but look at her mother. She doesn't. She doesn't.
You're right. She thinks she sounds really well informed every time she speaks, but she just comes off like a dumbass.
And she probably does. And in comparison to her mother, she does.
That's
she
true.
She does sound more informed.
Anything's better than Alicia.
And she sounds more, and she's much more well-spoken than her mother. But it's still, you guys, the worst thing, or one of the worst things I think a spouse can do to another spouse is belittle them, especially when you've bitched and bitched and bitched and bitched for them to get a job, is to go and belittle them at their place of employment.
Yep. Where he's kind of, it's kind of like, this is the beginning of her trying to trust him, but she's even said things like, well, he's really trying to do more with the baby and she's like, but he's now gone back to his old job of selling used phones. So she's worried, but the worst thing you can do to someone who is kind of trying to earn trust and trying to build up their life is to go to their work and be their mommy and say, he was a bad boy before.
He was bad.
He was selling stolen phones. Can you imagine?
Is he
and the
still
guys at work are
selling stolen phones now?
Yes. He's like, is your business legitimate? That's basically what she said to them.
And so here's the deal. No illegitimate business is going to say, yep, we're stolen phones.
I was
not that I think it is.
I was kind of floored by this. And I remember seeing this in China. In China, you can buy used phones. They're everywhere. And I think it's a business to buy these old phones that people have, and then you go fix them, and then you sell them to even a higher markup. So it's just another, and kind of Deavan in her very American capitalistic sense says, well, no, you just fix the phones and then you can sell them. And
then you'll make more money.
And they're like, yeah, Jihoon, you should learn to fix a phone, his coworkers.
The owner says, Jihoon even said she was very rude. It's his place of work. It's not cool.
Yeah.
And the owner says, I trust Jihoon. And then Jihoon literally explains to Deavan, he said, so what I do is I buy used phones and then I fix them. And then Deavan goes, it sounds complicated.
He doesn't fix them, though. No, he doesn't fix them.
He says I buy used phones and they fix them. I'm sorry. He said they fix them.
They don't even fix them.
But he meant like the person who buys them gets them fixed. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And when he said that, Deavan just said, this is complicated. And I'm like, it's not. I know it's different than what we have here, but it wasn't a hard concept to grasp.
He's a middleman.
This isn't the concept of pie.
Yeah, I just don't think she's the sharpest tool in the shed.
It doesn't ever stop. It just keeps going. That doesn't make sense.
So the coworkers then start goodying him, or gimmying. Like that, they're like, yeah, Jihoon, you start learn to fix a phone. Deavan's a smart girl. And that's what your coworkers are gonna do to you. They're gonna razz you. So in the next thing, they're talking about it. And she's like, she's like, don't embarrass me at work. You take care of children.
He said to her, mind your own business and take care of our children.
And she's like, a little bit like, okay, I'll remember that. That's a mother poodle. Well, I'll remember that. Fine. I'll remember that. I'll remember that when you ask me about something. My mother's got a memory like an elephant. She'll spit something back at you. You said to her 10 years ago.
That's not even a mother poodle thing. That's a Jake Anthony thing.
I will too. I'll remember that. Y'all, it's totally like Estella and Miss Havisham. That's what my mother taught me all her ways, and she's basically said, yes, you're going to go out in the world and do this.
She did.
Right. And I'm upset about it.
As Poodle says, as he wraps his shawl around his shoulders.
It's shawl weather here in Los Angeles, y'all. I woke up and it was 64 in my house. It's shawl weather.
And Poodle loves the shawl, y'all, because he doesn't get overly hot.
It's a great thing because think about shawls, y'all. The thing about shawls, y'all, is your arms are free. And I don't like my arms being restricted, but my trunk gets cold. No one gives a shit about this.
It also gives you something to kind of flail with and mess with.
And gives me something to play with. And when I throw my shawl around my neck dramatically, it's a great flourish.
You should make your own shawls and call them shawls, y'all.
we Shawls, y'all. That's fun to say. Try that, y'all. Shawls, y'all. This is already off the rails.
It's already fucking off the rails.
I did a cameo this morning after all this coffee, and I swear to God, I think I blacked out about halfway through it. I don't even know what happened.
Oh God.
So moving on, Deavan's like, I'm exhausted. And she's like, I took care of the baby. And Gina's like, no, I was up with the baby. So apparently he thinks he's doing the heavy if he's up for an hour.
Yes.
And you guys, this is why women are always superior to men. Men will complain about being up. They've been up with a baby for like an hour, 2 hours.
Not all men, but a lot of men, yes.
Right. And after a while, though, your wife's just not going to complain about it anymore because it's just a thing.
No.
And also men are just not very tough when it comes to things like that and sleep. Just like that's when I get sick, I'm a child.
Women persevere more.
They do. Yeah, they've had to.
They've had to. Yeah.
So they're gonna get married again, y'all. I feel like it's like the 11th marriage we've had.
Why do we need to have this marriage? But Deavan wants our fairy tale marriage that she's always dreamed of.
What now? When she described it, I was kind of surprised because I thought this would totally be a Twilight wedding with everyone wearing gothic. Her dress would be gothic black.
I thought so too, and she doesn't want that.
And but she wants like a fairy tale princess, and like halfway through someone who looked like Edward would bite her and whisk her away.
I hope someone has that wedding. Come at us if someone did. She actually kind of wants just a traditional American wedding, which she's not going to get in Korea. But
I don't think this was talked about and discussed.
No. But before they went to the wedding venue, did you notice they were in the stroller and they were pushing the stroller, and Deavan started to get into the elevator, and then the elevator door kind of jumped.
Yeah.
And then do you remember what Deavan said?
No, I don't.
She went, "Oh, it scared me."
I missed that. How could I have missed that?
She didn't say, "Oh, that," but she goes, "Oh, scared me."
Oh, you scared me. Y'all, it's boo season. It's going to scare you. Things out there. I swear, there's a girl a woman who lives downstairs who has the way my apartment building is like there's 8 units, and there is kind of like a little enclave where everyone else, you can't really see around the corner.
517 Orange Grove Avenue. That's where you can find them.
You can throw rocks in my window. She has erected this scary looking Grim Reaper in the corner right next to her door. And every time I pass it, I go, because I think someone is staring at me. The other day, I threw my mail up in the air and went, and I told her, I knocked on the door, I said, every time I pass here, this scares the fuck out of me.
Happy Halloween.
Oh, it scared me. So when someone screams at you for some Halloween thing, remember say, "Oh, you scared me." Just like that.
We have some sissies that say they just say it now when that happens.
That Brittany has no idea in that little tiny phrase what she gave us.
That and crab cake.
Heather Torres even said she tried to get her to say it on a cameo for us. She didn't even know what the fuck to do.
She was so confused. That is the beauty of Brittany, y'all. And several of you are coming at us. We've already said we are going to do
we're going to do a bi-curious
of I Love Mama's Boys. I don't think we're going to do the whole season just because Southern Charm's coming back. So that's really taking our time.
Did you watch? Should we just talk a little bit about it?
I watched half of it. I watched the first half.
I watched a good 40 minutes of it.
Okay.
It's not that it's bad, you guys. It's just that there's something doesn't transfer in the same way we were discussing this. There's something about being a mother being nasty to a daughter-in-law that's harder to take.
I don't like watching that.
Yeah, and even though they're cuckoo crazy, yes, especially the Indian mother.
Like Dawn,
holy fuck!
Oh, she's crazy. Like Dawn and Cher, a mother with her daughter. That's different with her own daughter. And also, I feel like there's not any like, it's not any wackiness. It's just odd. Like Elena and her mother,
kissy poos,
but they're just wacky.
Yeah,
like Dawn and Cher are wacky. These people are like, oh fuck. Your husband died, and now you feel like you have to be the father to your child, and you're the mother. Oh, fuck, you almost died as a baby, and now y'all are still crying about it 30 years later. Nobody got past this.
It's like a whole cast of Sarah and Lori's. That's what it is from Smothered.
Oh,
the one who was given the kidney.
Yes, because it is. It's a whole cast of Sarah and Lori's, and they were they were hardest to watch.
Y'all, because I was freaked out by that couple.
Mm-hmm.
By the mom saying, "You were always such a good girl. You was gonna give me a kidney." Oh, Sarah, I love you so much. Hopefully, I'll be alive in a while. I won't die from.
Don't leave me, Mom. Don't leave me, because then I'll have to have sex with my boyfriend with the huge dick.
Who's cheating on me?
Who's probably fucking a secretary.
Who's got a really hot gay brother.
Who's really hot, yeah.
Who I follow on Instagram.
Mom, smell my teeth.
There's something about it. Now, the first one, I can't remember his name, Matt, with we need to go rescue that poor blonde girl. I think her name is Kim.
Oh, that is Ricky Darty circa 2001.
I basically said his eyebrows, if they're not gay brows, they're at least bi-brows.
They're at least bi-brows.
They're at least bi-brows.
Y'all, he is one ass wax away from being in a sling.
The fact that he could quote Frozen that quickly and that accurately, come on.
Straight men don't do that. They just don't.
They're not that animated.
You know, I was going to say they do if they're a father and they've had to watch Frozen fucking 100 times, but they don't do it that, animated.
Yeah. It's just all of my alarms went off for poor Kim. And the pedicures, the mom, the dyeing of the mom's hair.
Yes.
It was all a little psycho.
You guys, I only would dye my mom's hair. My mother did say, well, she doesn't dye her hair anymore, but when she used to, she's like, make sure that when I'm in the nursing home, you'll dye my hair. And if I have any hair on my upper lip, you'll wax it. And I said, all right, Mama, I will.
No, she's going to get a hired person to do that for her.
Yeah, she is. She is.
The one, Matt, the really hot one who's a model.
Whose mother wants to fuck him. It just, I'm sorry. Yeah. It's not appropriate today, but it feels weird.
It's true. And I will say that's one of the most out of date hairstyles I've seen on actual television.
That is.
I don't know what she's thinking.
That is Kathy Farrell. When I was in elementary, who was a teacher's aide to the elementary kids, and everybody loved her. She was very nice. And then once a semester, she would have her freak out, and they would say, "Don't talk to Kathy today," and everybody knew. And she had that hairstyle.
What was wrong with her?
Kathy was one of those people like, Kathy, this table broke. Okay, that's fine. Kathy, this kid just shit on the floor. Okay, that's fine. Kathy, your car fell apart. Okay, it's fine. I'll pray about it. And then one day, like every semester, it all just comes out like, ah! You don't have any people in your community like that hold it all in?
Not particularly.
Come at us if you know somebody in your life who holds it in, and then once every 6 months they just explode.
What would happen when Kathy would explode?
She would yell at things and people, and sometimes young children.
That sounds like someone who's emotionally unstable and should not be working with children.
Oh, she was a great teacher. She's retired now.
I hope so.
Now. Her husband just died a couple of months ago.
I'm sure she's doing well. Whoa. Wow. I would think that a outburst like that might predate someone from being around children, but I guess not.
Not in Lone Grove Elementary.
So it's windy here. My window. You're not here. So when it's windy here, y'all, my windows rattle and blow open.
I would be scared.
Scared. So I think that so it's Matt and the mom, and then the Indian mom and her Indian son. That poor girl, who the mom is literally actively aggressive towards, says, "Why are you here?" That's hard to watch. I could not get through that.
I didn't like that either.
Yeah. The Indian mother's going to actually strangle her in the last episode. Yeah. That's their big event.
Yep, she is.
She just strangles her right in front of everyone. Just
everyone
silently.
And just
and there was one there was one other we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, there's somebody.
I just found it kind of unwatchable.
There's kind of the one who he kind of looks like an ogre. I don't think we've seen him yet.
We haven't seen him yet.
Yeah.
Looks gay too, though.
I think that's the one.
So all this being said, we're going to do a bi-curious on it. We're definitely not going to recap the whole thing of the show. No. I'm going to keep watching it because it's cuckoo crazy and I kind of want to fuck Matt. What am I talking about? Not Matt, I'm sorry. What's the hot one?
Mark?
I don't know. Straight guys have all the same names to me.
That's true.
There's Mike. There's so many Mikes and Matts. What a basic name. Ugh.
That's kind of like Jacob.
That is not a basic name. Sorry.
It is.
No. I guarantee you, if you looked at the number of Matt.
There's a song called Feed Jake about a dog.
Yeah, but because at least that name is singable. Oh, unlike Matt, which seems like slaps you across the face.
Whatever you need to say to make yourself feel better.
Whatever you need to say. Anyway, so that's what we're not doing that whole show. Y'all keep watching it. You can keep talking about it. I'm gonna follow it. So we'll see how it goes. We'll definitely do a bi-curious. Where were we? Okay, y'all, going back to Deavan and Jihoon, they're at the wedding venue, and they walk in, and it's kind of I think it's like more of a business. I don't know if we have these here, like kind of like professional wedding venues. I guess there are.
Yes, we do. Yes, really? We do. Oh, you have not been a best man at some woman's wedding.
I guess I didn't think venues that are exclusively for weddings.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
The places I have been that just do weddings. They're all over.
Really? I don't know. I don't know.
Yep.
So there are weddings, just wedding venues.
And there
they don't do anything else.
Yes, and there are places like this place in Korea that will do like 2 or 3 weddings a day, or they'll have different places, different venues within the grounds. And so like one wedding will be going on while another wedding's going on.
Right. But not like 5 weddings a day like this one's doing.
I think there are some venues that probably do 5 weddings a day.
Wow.
If they're that
I feel like I wouldn't want that because I would want my wedding to be a unique experience, but maybe that's me.
No, but also too, Jihoon says that this is one of the most popular wedding places.
Exactly. So it's a status symbol for them to get in there and do that.
Yes. So
I like the lockers. I don't want lockers at my wedding venue.
I don't want lockers at my wedding venue at all.
I know.
And Deavan was right. It was a full runway. I mean, this looked like this, but
looked like New York Fashion Week.
But that's kind of like becoming the trend. Like sometimes I'll see people, they'll take pictures or whatever, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm at my church," and I'm like, "Your church looks like a concert. It doesn't feel like a church to me."
Well, that's very much a contemporary Christian mega church kind of thing.
But I feel like that's
the thing.
And a lot of Koreans are Christian. So I feel like that maybe they're taking that and they want it to look like this very performance-based thing.
I feel like they wanted it to look like a big social event, like with like, I'm sure there's like a step and repeat thing.
Yeah.
And it did not look like a traditional religious ceremony. And I think she wanted she said, I want an elegant small thing. And I just have a feeling that her Mormon Utah way of weddings was not that.
No, I think she did want something much, actually, in her I don't think she wanted this big. She kept saying, I want this big wedding. But then when she actually saw the big wedding, she was like, actually, she wants something more intimate and romantic.
And I think when she said there's a runway, I don't think that. I think she was amazed at how wide it was.
It didn't. Yeah, it was an aisle. It was clearly an aisle.
It was a place where you would have a theatrical wedding. I agree with her. I didn't love it just because it just looked so bland. It was like, in other words, it was a stage you could do anything to. But the fact that you could get in there and have 1 hour, that way no one could actually put unique touches onto the place.
No, you probably have the same flowers as everybody else. But also, too, I feel like in Eastern culture, and y'all come at me because I've never lived there. This is just my experience of talking to people I've known and reading and watching things, which is not a lot. And you can come at me because you were in China. But I feel like it's a more American idea that everything has to be unique to us and our like unique experience, where I feel like sometimes they can be in Eastern culture a little more utilitarian about things. Am I right in saying that?
I don't know. I think if a wedding, I think like everything in the U.S., everything that is an event is blown over. But is overblown. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I have no idea. But they did say, when they're meeting with the wedding planner, so they do 5 or 6 a day, and they bought the Jihoon said we bought the VIP package. You get the dress rental, you get the tux rental, and you get all the best flowers. We could rent the flower girl if you want. Oh, you got one. Dracula's going to do it.
Dracula's going to do it.
And probably by someone.
Ruin the wedding. Y'all, she's going to ruin the wedding. If they have the wedding, she's going to ruin it.
Can you imagine her just running in circles, going, she's like a feral animal.
Just trying to beat that dog.
Oh, God, that poor dog. Poor Bam Bam.
Thank Bam Bam has gone to another family.
Because Drusilla wouldn't. There was one thing in Instagram, and this has been like a year ago in Devan's Instagram story where she just threw the dog, and people were so concerned.
Something's wrong with that child.
I'll tell you what's wrong.
Her parents.
I sound like my father. She's never had any discipline at all.
She never has had any discipline.
Never. So they're having a beautiful 11 a.m. wedding. I guess you finish brunch and you just go.
Yep, that's what you do.
Can you imagine a 9 a.m. wedding, y'all?
Bring your coffee. Just sit in the aisle. Bring your coffee.
It's like a mega church. You just have your coffee, and they've got donuts outside. People smoking outside the place.
I did feel for Deavan a little bit for this because a wedding really is important to a lot of people, and
it is. Yeah, it's a very.
She wasn't consulted in this at all, and that's not. And I felt for her because how could she have known? How would she have known that this would all be planned? I would have gone in there thinking, oh, I'm going to go to a wedding venue and I'll get to pick this out and pick this out and pick this. And no, she did none of that.
I agree. But I'm going to offer a counterpoint that his parents are paying. And if she wanted the wedding of hers, her parents should pay.
I do feel like if she wanted the wedding of her dreams, why does she just have it in the U.S.? Because it's not like he can't go. They can travel. His family can travel to the U.S. and that's where it's odd that they already had a Korean wedding with not all, but some of his family. Why wouldn't you want to have a family in the wedding in the United States where all of your family?
It's beyond me.
It's odd.
I think too.
I still think she's running away from something. Yeah,
she kind of freaked out over the fact that they had an hour. She's like, but it's like weddings are 3 hours. Not true. A wedding, a good wedding, is like 30 to 45 minutes.
Unless it's a Catholic wedding, then it's an hour.
It's a full nuptial mass, yeah. But tops an hour.
Even that's tops an hour, yeah.
But the ceremony, then that's the reception. She's conflating the two.
And I think she is putting them both together. Do you remember our friend Tasha's wedding was literally 3 minutes?
Yes, it was fantastic.
It was out. We was out in the side. Y'all was in the sun, and it was 95 degrees outside in the valley. And we're like, it's so hot. And literally, you sat down, and they were done, married.
Here's the thing, y'all. When you're gonna, again, I've talked about this before. The only thing you need for a really good wedding for your own mind and to be later on is really good pictures. That's all you'll remember, because that day is going to be a blur. I would
like to have a little bit of a ceremony.
Well, no, I'm saying that you don't need to stretch it out. You don't.
Maybe I'll have like an hour and a half wedding, and you can be
I
the
won't
director of it.
I will boycott. I'll cut things right. Yeah. When his mom doing the reading, cut. The child interpretive dance, that's cut. That's cut. That's gone.
That's cut.
That's gone.
Gospel choir, I'm doing that solo, and I'm going to abbreviate it. I'm just going to the high notes at the end.
I just think wedding ceremonies get really bloated with people doing lots of readings and also sermons, and because I promise you, no one wants that long ceremony. The reception is great. No one. Here's the thing too. No one really wants to come to your wedding anyway.
I think it's true. I think 30 minutes is a good wedding, actually. That's a good amount of time.
But no one, unless it's an old woman, says, I can't wait to go to that wedding. You go to weddings because you have to.
I like going to weddings because it just makes you feel like full of love.
Yeah, not me. I'm saying that the majority of people, you go because you're compelled to. But you're not going, you're excited about the reception. Admit it. More than you are the wedding.
I don't know. Both.
Boo.
It depends on if there's good music. I could get really particular about the music at a wedding. And
I get you, but how many weddings do you go to? Remember the gay wedding of your friend Nicholas that I sung
at? That was a very high church wedding. It was an all male chorus singing gay stuff.
All male chorus, not gay stuff. Very high music, and then we did
it was gay music.
It was
gay music that priests and cantors wrote like 300 years ago.
I will say, I sang at a gayer wedding later on, and it was where we did a choral version of Ave Maria. It was two Persian men getting married, and one basically wore a lace dress, and in that space. And I'm like, this is the tackiest fucking thing I've ever done.
The little church that he sings at is so gay friendly, it makes us uncomfortable.
I know. I want them to take a stand about something.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think.
And not because we think it's wrong. It's just we're so used to going into church and feeling shame about being gay. It's like, what? They don't care?
Makes me feel uncomfortable.
And because as I said, y'all, the Episcopalians believe what's right. God doesn't care if you suck a dick. I'll say it again.
And as we said on the last podcast, as soon as a Catholic sucks a dick, as soon as a Catholic boy sucks a dick, it's like Episcopalian.
Episcopalian. That's true. It's true.
I think in the very end, they were kind of laughing about Deavan wanting a dance. And he's like, and Jihoon's like, that's not done in Korea. We don't have that.
It was kind of mean, though, the way her mom laughed
They were laughing at her. And I sympathize with Deavan here. However, she could have countered and said, so how about we do this?
That's a deal. Yes.
We do the wedding here. Then we rent a reception hall and we have dancing fun. And she could have said, almost like a party for a wedding thing. And then she said, you know what? My parents could pay for it. You know,
they can't pay for it.
No, they can't. But
the thing with Deavan, that is, you just hit on what Deavan doesn't do. Deavan won't stand up for herself because she would rather be the martyr for it.
Yep. Totally.
And really, I hope that she learns that skill of just speaking what she wants.
And she finally did say she wants my dance with Dad, with her father, and Jihoon's dance with Drusilla.
Daddy's hands.
No, it would be butterfly kisses, y'all.
Butterfly
kisses. Evening prayers. Little white flowers all up in her hair.
Y'all don't have butterfly kisses with your dance with your father. You
said
can't anymore. You could have, but you
I
can't
said
now.
that a while back, and people are like, "Oh God, that was my."
A lot of people did it in the 90s, and we're okay. That's
Don't
fine.
do it now.
It's like with the same way you told the DJ you want to do the Macarena. No one's doing it anymore. Let it go.
Also, look up the English translation of that lyric. If you got a little time, it's filthy.
Oh.
And enjoy that you probably at your junior high dance, you were going crazy with that.
Oh, enjoy that your grandma is doing it like, Carl, they're doing the Macarena. I can do that one.
Don't whatever you do, Carl's wife, don't look up the lyrics.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever you do.
Oh, that's not nice. Oh, how would you even do that?
How would you do it? Carl, don't put down the Auto Trader in Google.
I think that's all I have about them. Do you have any more?
No.
We should take a commercial break.
Yep, so let's do it.
All right. Ooh, it's blustery and windy, y'all. I have energy and it's chilly.
Oh, it feels so long and blustery, and it feels like a rather blustery day.
What is that from? Something Pooh?
It's Winnie the Pooh, yeah.
I don't think I remember the music in that.
Oh, I used to watch that one. I like that one where there's the honey and they get stuck in a tree, and yeah, I like that.
What is that one? Is that a movie or a?
It was like one of those just Winnie the Pooh cartoons.
Oh, I just remember Winnie the Pooh, da 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 da, all stuff with fluff. That's the only music I remember. Yeah. I do, however, remember a video that they showed us in elementary school about sexual abuse.
Two smart strangers, that's me, Winnie the Pooh. I'm a bear, don't touch there. Oh no, you go away. It's something like that.
What the fuck?
Hey, it worked. Too smart for strangers scared the fuck out of me.
I get it, but the fact that they took a beloved childhood, they couldn't find another kind of character to bring in the idea of child sexual abuse.
Well,
don't touch me in my bathing suit area or I'll go tell my mom.
You got to do what you got to do.
I guess I could just never look at Winnie the Pooh the same way.
But when you're a kid, I don't know. That's what now they use Blue's Clues.
Oh, really?
I guess. I don't know.
Dora the Explorer.
Dora, don't explore there. Okay.
Can you say? No, I'm gonna stop.
No. Armando and Kenny. Let's talk about Armando and Kenny.
Speaking of bilingual.
Speaking of bilingual and speaking of not bilingual.
Right.
They are heading home from taking Hannah home, and Hannah's in the back seat, just like, how do you feel about living with Kenny? And Armando says, I'm excited. I'm going to be happy, feliz, and all this stuff. And
Ruffles the dog is like, somebody let me out.
I'm going to itch my ass over that cactus because I'm itchy.
Somebody put my tongue back in my mouth.
Somebody put my tongue in my mouth. I'm fucking thirsty, boy. That's what she says. She actually really is just Asuelo's father-in-law.
Yeah.
So Hannah's excited to be there, and Hannah and Kenny Hannah and Armando have this whole conversation, and Kenny's like, "Wow, I'm really struck." Yeah, he's like, wow, they could talk shit about me. And I'm really struck that not knowing the language of a child I'm raising is a big deal.
And I went, boy, you couldn't see this one coming.
I want to say, well, Kenny, at least you're pretty and you look young.
I feel like, too, I know there was a lot of preparation that went in for this, and they did it for a year. The kind of incidentals of getting a place to live and how they would make money. But these little things, like the details of How am I going to tell the things? How will his parents react to me coming there? And should I learn the language? Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure we'll skate by. I'm sure.
And he said that. He said he thought he could just skate by. And I guess probably the only time he was in Mexico, I get if your only experience in Mexico is going to Cancun and places like that.
Yeah. Where everyone speaks English at your resort.
And I already knew this, but even when I went to Mexico City, and most people speak English in Mexico City, but there would be parts of Mexico City where we would go and we could not speak to them at all.
Yeah,
because it was just Spanish. So, and it was very different than Cancun. So I guess he just didn't know. I guess they just all.
Well, I will say I did this exact same thing, even though they kind of prepared us. But with China, I was like, oh yeah, people will know English.
You know what? You don't have a leg to stand on because you went to.
I wasn't moving
there,
though.
Kenny?
I wasn't moving there.
It's true, but Kenny, I apologize because when Poodle went to China, he's texting me. He's like, "I can't Google. Did you know you can't use Facebook?" And Jake, it's communist China.
You use Bing.com though. Bing.com was everything.
There's like 10 websites you can search on, and that's it.
Opera was one of them.
But you literally, they did not speak English there.
Oh, the weird, you would think, and I just, in the bigger cities, you could find some of it. But if you were in in a city with not a billion people, even the hotel front desk, no English. And it was interesting. And I kind of was able to get by a little bit as my trip was getting there. But my first week and a half was kind of rough. But, I adapted.
Just a lot of pointing and saying whatever that is in Chinese.
Yep. A lot of miming. A lot of brushing teeth. Doing a towel.
Bending over and pulling your pants down and pointing to your butthole, saying right here.
Winky, winky.
¿Cómo se dice butt sex in Chinese?
I did not learn that. That you don't need to speak Chinese to get that.
COVID took that away from you.
Anyway, so
maybe Kenny just thought, but I agree with you. I feel like if I knew I was going, regardless of what everybody else is speaking, I thought surely she's talked to Hannah via online things. So he knows, I'm speaking to Hannah online. She's either speaking English or she's only speaking Spanish. I should learn Spanish to talk to her.
I just think this is a blind spot in Kenny's Americanism that
I guess
assumes people will learn English and she'll learn English. Because a lot of Americans say, everyone from another country will be grateful to learn English.
But they forget how hard it is to learn English and how easier it is to learn Spanish.
Yeah, Spanish is a very the rules for Spanish are very much consistent compared to English, and Spanish is a Romance language, so it's like French and Italian in so many different ways. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it anymore because it's just so obvious and I'm sure on the tell-all he's going to have to respond to questions about it.
Oh yeah,
Sean Robbins is like, Kenny, why didn't you learn English, Kenny? And Kenny's like, well, it was blah blah blah. So we're gonna have this is going to be Lydia in the tell-all. I think a lot of Americans do this. They just think people will speak English, people will learn English. I'll be fine.
Meanwhile, Truffles is over there saying, "Como se dice idioso." I bet Truffles knows Spanish. Totally.
I'm a goddamn perro.
Desde más caliente que los ratones culeando un calcetín de lana, Kenny.
I'm glad that's the only phrase you know in Spanish.
It is, basically.
So you guys, they get back to their house. They're showing Hannah her room, and it's really cute. I guess maybe are they having two beds because that's their guest room, but it's also Hannah's
probably guest room. And I bet she had her cousins that were her age, and I bet they thought that her cousins can come stay with her and stuff like that, and they can sleep because they're only sissies did their research. Y'all, I know this was so dramatic, and they left. it's 4 hours away. They looked at it, it's 4 hours away.
I'm only 4 hours away. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
I mean, that's like Ardmore to Tulsa. You don't get freaked out when people move to Tulsa.
It felt like they were leaving for the rest of their lives.
It really did, like they were traveling across the pond.
I get it though. It was a different change of life. Like
it was. That's really what it was about. It was symbolic, Poodle. Symbolic.
I know. So Kenny basically says, I want her to look at me as a parent. And I went, you got to fucking learn Spanish.
You got to learn her Spanish then.
You have no authority. If you're not on her level, that's going to be one of the issues, I guarantee you.
Because a little kid, when they're younger, they'll think if you don't know their language, they think you're dumb. Mm-hmm. Even though you're not, they think you're dumb, and that will be a respect thing.
So
Annie's a sassy girl. She knows about unicorns. Bitch is caught up. She is ready.
Horn, and then I'm like this. So we're already giving her gay things.
I loved it. I loved it that there's just like this. I love that every child in the world always asks their parents just random weird things.
Oh God,
your poor mother.
Oh,
your poor mother.
Like, why does blah blah blah? And I'm like, because of blah blah blah. But then blah 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 blah. And I'm like,
I mean, your poor mother. I bet you drove her crazy with your questions.
I did. There was one point where we had a limit of questions. I could only ask like 10 in an hour. Kids get past that age, but until about 12, when they start hating you, till they. So they have a book. They've given her like a kind of a Heather Has Two Mommies book, but about daddies.
Mm-hmm.
That's I guess it's in Spanish, or maybe he's translating.
Mm-hmm.
And they do ask. I thought it was really cute when she's like, "How do you feel here?" And she's like, "Feliz," and she goes to Kenny, "Happy."
That was very sweet.
And made him like tear up, and I'm like, I'm glad you know the word "feliz," right?
What was sweet about that? That was really sweet too. When Kenny in the testimonial says, "I felt really I just felt when he I love how he does care a lot about Hannah, and I think he thinks of Hannah as his own daughter already. So, we shade Kenny about not learning the language, but the emotional component and the love for her is
I think
already there and really sweet. But like when he said, "I only have her best interest," and y'all, Kenny cries every episode, and I'm okay with it. More
than once too.
I'm fine. It's sweet.
He's tearing up. I think it's okay. I mean, it's, and I'm sure he's going to get flack on the tell-all when he watches all of this over and over. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm crying every episode."
He'll pray for that.
Think how much they filmed, and so it's probably so. Remember that.
Oh yeah.
So they're going to the market the next time. And Hannah's like, "Daddy, buy me this. Daddy, buy me this. Daddy, buy me this." I've learned that phrase several times. I'm going to go to this market.
I'm going to go to this market right now.
Next.
I did. My father called me while we were doing this podcast in the hospital. And so I texted my brother and said, "Call our dad."
Can you turn the volume off?
I don't know how to do that.
I just think it's a little rude.
I think my father's in the hospital with no one there for 2 weeks, and I'm sitting outside just looking at him through a window. So I think you'll deal with the sound.
I was just saying from our listeners' point of view.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think they understand.
Anyway, so they're trying to buy, and Kenny's like, "Armando and I have very different parenting styles." Sounds like it. He's like, "I'm more of a drill sergeant," and I kind of understand Armando's thinking here.
He's going to be a smothered or an I love my mama or Mama's Boys show thing.
Yeah, because it did. She was kind of like, she was working him, and Kenny's had enough kids to know they're working you.
They're working him.
Yeah. Kids are so smart, and they know, and they're always testing boundaries to see what they can get away with.
But here's the deal, though. This is, Hannah's pretty young, and this is interesting to me. Sometimes don't put your shit on your child. And what I mean by that, Armando says, he says, Kenny called out. He said, I feel like probably you give her whatever you want. And Ron said, well, she lost her mother at a young age and da-da-da. When kids go through tragedy, one of the worst things you can do is not give them structure, not give them boundaries. That's actually when they need it the most, because that's what allows kids to feel safe. And honestly, yes, Hannah has the trauma of that, but it's different because Hannah lost her mother when she was very young, which is still very traumatic, but it's just, you're thinking of it as an adult of what would happen. I'm 25 years old and I lost my mother. It's different for her. It's different.
Is emotional guilt onto her.
Yes.
Thinking it's the same. I agree. Yes. If anything, you need to be even stricter, not stricter, but like more structure.
More structure, so they just know there's routine, there's structure, they're safe. And also too, having kids not get everything immediate and actually having them work towards things gives them autonomy. It gives them confidence. It gives them everything. I don't need to go off. This is coming from two gay men who don't have children at all. But I did.
Oh,
what did you say?
That we know of.
That we know of. I did study a little child psychology, but not a lot.
I think too that they're eating later, and someone did bring up to me that I think too. I don't know why I say that, but I think too. Someone put it on our Facebook group. I think too that
I think too.
I don't know why I say that. That must be something I've picked up instead of also. We all know that also. That just feels wrong.
Also. Your mom says also, doesn't she?
Also. Oh, both my mother and my father say it. It's a regional thing.
Ah, okay.
Because my mother would say, I said, can you say ALSO? And she says, also. I went, that's where I get it. And my father does the same thing.
Poodle, that's where you get all of it.
Anyway, so Kenny basically says, you're such a pushover to you're a pushover to her. And then he's like,
do you see how she works you?
And then they the temperature goes, and he's like, and Armando was like, yeah, but I really don't like that tone you're using. He's like, I said it just like what I'm saying now. He's like, yeah, but it had a tone. And I'm like, yes, gay fighting. That's what I'm here for. Thank
Y'all,
you for no one fights like two gay men. Oh.
And no one talks about tone like a gay man. It's the tone of your voice.
Toning your voice.
Do you know how many times Poodle has said that to me?
Finally, I felt seen in their relationship. Finally, we, instead of this fairy tale, now this feels like a real relationship. When I've seen them come at one another.
Well, I feel like Armando basically has been able to do whatever he wants as a parent.
Yep.
And not that Kenny raised his kids by himself as well. But I actually think for both of them, it's going to be, parents fight a lot about their parenting style. And Kenny and Armando have never had to do that because they've done whatever the hell they wanted to.
Right. And I think too,
they were the only one.
There it is again. And I think as well that Kenny thinks he's an expert at child rearing because he's done it 4 times. And he thinks his kids turned out really well. So, in other words, he knows what to do. And
Armando, and they seem to, but then, yeah.
And Armando, it's kind of like, I'm doing the best I can, but no one knows how to raise my child kind of like me. I'm obviously going to call the shots in his head.
Well, and I think too, I hope that they kind of divorce themselves from my way is the right way. instead of looking at what's the way both of us want to raise this child.
And I think they got there. The conversation they were having is, we should keep talking about it. And so while they're having this very kind of emotional conversation, Hannah's just playing with a broom she found on the floor.
Been there. I love that Kenny said at one point, he's like, I have to be able to say what's good for her sometimes. And I went, you can't say what's good for her because you can't speak Spanish. Sorry, Kenny.
At the end, she's like, can we get some ice cream? And she's like, I basically wrote down, are you queens done crying?
Kenny said he wants to be a stepfather. Do you think Hannah's just used to her father's crying all the time?
I don't know. Armando cries a little bit. I think Kenny's. I think, I don't know. Maybe her mom or her sister cried enough so that Hannah can get used to people just crying.
I hope
my mother teared up all the time. My youth, so it was normal for me.
My mom did too, and my brother does now for my nephews. I hope that Hannah ends up being sassy like the daughter from Modern Family. I know that's a fake show, but I always love how when she would read her gay dads.
Oh, you mean Lily?
Yeah. I hope that's Hannah.
Come on, ladies. We don't have all day. I'd love that. Want me to call you a wambulance?
Oh, those were good moments.
I really liked that little girl, that actress, when the kind of medium Lily. I liked her. The older one I did not like, or maybe it's the same actress. So she thought she knew how to act. I was really, traumatized.
We can't come after child actors on our show.
Watch me.
Let's talk about Brittany and Yazan, but really Brittany.
Speaking of child actors,
no fucking shit. No fucking shit.
Speaking of childish
people
like they're actors. So this is interesting because this week's episode kind of divided the community a little bit. Because this week had more people sympathizing with Brittany. And kind of it went back and forth. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of see both sides, but I want to just construct a little bit of an argument here. So hear me out. Brittany flew back to America in what she has told Yazan. So this is Yazan's version of what Brittany had to go. I need to go see my sister's baby. She flew back to Chicago to see her sister's baby. So she's there, and then suddenly she's in Florida. And he's sitting there without a place to live. Yeah. And kicked out of his house. Trying to make extra money as a taxi driver, or he's also working in a barbershop, I believe.
Barbershop. Mm-hmm.
Calling, he's not calling a lot, probably because he's having to make working 14 hours.
He's 16 hours a day, he said.
She's having a beach day with her friend Angela.
Yeah.
So for me, this was all American privilege.
No, I saw it that way too, because it goes back to where, I mean, do I agree with Brittany that Yazan kind of this is what I was saying earlier in our first episode. This is a little bit of the parallel of, I think Yazan did a little bit what Biniam did with Ari of, yeah, that's fine. Kind of thinking once they get over here, they're going to do what I want them to do. I think there was a bit of that, or quite a bit of that. So I can understand why Brittany feels like she was lied to, but that is way different of culturally not understanding than flat out lying to someone. Because y'all, she was still married. Don't forget, Brittany was still married.
And I think if you compare the two sides, from all out lying that I was married at the time and you would have completely rejected me, and this is a con. Mm-hmm. This is a con on this side. Or in his side, he omitted everything that his family is conservative and everything was okay. Mm-hmm. So I can see them as existing in different ways. Mm-hmm. This this whole revelation, if this comes out, and I'm sure it has now, Yazan knows all this. Hopefully we'll see what happens when Yazan finds out that she was just divorced.
Oh,
because
he's going to go berserk.
I'm
He's going to go berserk, and he's going to feel like, he already's kind of said this, but he's going to feel like an idiot and a fool. The thing is, y'all, what it goes to is there's what's equitable, and then there's what's fair. Mm-hmm. And for this, it's like, what is equitable in this? What he is giving up and losing compared to what Brittany is having to go through is not comparable. It really isn't. I know she says, I'm moving, I'm leaving my friends, but also
the stakes aren't comparable. The stakes for her and the stakes for him have nothing to do with one another.
And also she chose to do all that. Yazan, yes, he is choosing her, but because he's choosing her, everything he loves is being taken away from him.
Yeah.
That's much different than deciding to leave the US.
I don't know why. Them just her demanding you need to get enough money to send me a plane ticket and have your own place and be your own man. I feel like, yes, this is a normal thing, an argument you would have on Smothered or I Love a Mama's Boy.
Or in the United States.
But this is not an argument you're going to have in fucking Jordan when your parents might have you ritually killed.
Yes.
And it's just like the stakes don't belong in the same world.
And it goes back to for both of them, and this is why Brittany feels kind of hoodwinked by Yazan, is neither of them took any time to learn what the other person was coming from, what cultural perspective that the other person was coming on both sides. Yeah. Neither of them there wasn't even a simple Google search on both of their part on what it's fucking like to live in America versus what it's like to live in Jordan. Like nothing.
It made me absolutely furious when she told him, you just need to be a responsible adult. Like you are?
Like you are. Like you aren't at all. At all.
And it's just like, he's been
we don't even know what Brittany does for work.
She's an influencer.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's a wannabe rapper with braces. I promise y'all, I will try to get over the adult braces. I still think, part of me still thinks they're fake. I know that's awful, but she's got everything about her says grifter to me.
The thing with Brittany is very, Yazan can be too, but Brittany is very, very, she's not narcissistic. She is self-absorbed. Mm-hmm. Big time self-absorbed. And so if it's not, she's going to be one of those people of like, kind of like Ari, of like, well, yeah, you're going through this, but I'm having a bad day.
I mean, my child, I'm still in a lot of pain here. And how you're feeling, Ari? I mean, the baby's cute.
The baby's cute. This is a rough day for me.
I want to just talk about her accusing Yazan of having a victim mentality. After he's been disowned by his family. Yes, he does kind of say that. And I did object to him saying, no, you have to change yourself. You have to change yourself.
Well, that goes back. They're not listening and accepting the other person's perspective. Mm-hmm. They're just saying, both of them are saying, you need to do what I want you to do. That's basically what they're doing. They're not compromising at all.
And Brittany thinks, she said he's a flip-flopper, everything. And that is very confusing because but I think he's in such a just dire straits that he's basically saying, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm cut off from my family.
He's trying to please everybody. He's trying to please everyone. So he's trying to please. He's trying to please Brittany, but saying what is going to be good for her to hear, but appease his parents. And so it's that idea of trying to please everyone pisses off everybody.
And y'all, I don't want to say too much about it, but that bathing suit,
wasn't a great fit.
It on Facebook said it reminded me of when people were wearing their masks in weird ways.
No, it's not. We're not saying anything about Brittany's body. She has beautiful
No.
breasts and all that. But we can comment on this. Is her clothing. That was a horrible fitting swimsuit. It looked like two sad clown noses that slipped to the side of someone's face.
It's just but also it's just how much more can we do things that Yazan would be completely horrified by?
Yeah, she has done. The only thing she's ever really done for him is she wore
the
hijab some when she was there. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And she did go to the mosque with him, and she did try to read the Quran.
Yes, that's true. And she says, well, I paid for the apartments and I paid for the plane tickets and I did. But again, is this equitable or is it fair? Maybe it's not fair, but I bet Yazan is not making a lot of money working for his dad. He wasn't.
This is doomed. We said this the first episode.
Yeah.
This is absolutely fucking doomed.
It's doomed. And what it feels like, Yazan is playing at life and Brittany is playing a game.
So true. Yep.
And what is sad about this is
it is a very gamey.
Yes. And this could end up killing him.
Yeah, and we're going to find that out later on, that he could be killed by his relatives or someone else hired to do it, because he's brought shame to his family. So she's like, I'm going to go to Jordan and I'm going to give him an ultimatum. He thinks he's going to give me one. And I'm like, again, this is the wrong stakes. This is not you going to be, you're not confronting a jealous boyfriend here.
You're not, because you're never going to tell him that you were married. You're not going to be upfront with him. And also, what a dick thing to do, to go to a country where someone thinks that you're going to be there to just give them an ultimatum. Just fucking have a Skype conversation.
This is the equivalent of Tom wanting to meet Darcy.
Yes, exactly.
The fly in and fuck you.
Yep. Fly in and fuck you. That's it.
Have you put on weight? Oh,
she's really just so y'all. I mean, I understand some of you might be on Team Brittany, and I can understand how you think that way, but it's just not comparable.
I think if you zoom out and look at the kind of meta level things are working here, and see how each of them presented themselves. Both of them made mistakes, but boy, she's coming off as super insensitive.
Yeah.
That's all I have about this show.
That's all I have too.
Okay.
That's all I have. Oh, that's it. That's the show, everybody.
You're always surprised. Oh.
Well, it's done. Shall we move on to our spotlight?
Only lyric of that song.
Mm-hmm.
That's ooh. Mm-hmm. All right, here we go.
Good morning. All hail the queens of queens. This is Kim in Chattanooga, and I am just basically sending you a shout out of love for you and the Sissy Squad for getting me through this really, really hard time right now. I have felt a little lonely and a little sad that you guys have definitely all made it worthwhile and made it feel so much less lonely. And I love you all, and I treasure you all so much. Thank you.
Hey there, this is TL, that's what I'm going by, and long-time listener, first-time caller. There's two quick things I wanted to tell you. I do live in the town that you were I live in Dubuque, Iowa, and it is not the cesspool that the show is making it out to be. Absolutely not. And also I happen to have close personal relationships with a police officer, and he says that it's just like every other city, town, as far as crime is concerned. It just has its percentage based on our population, right? We have everything that big cities have, just in smaller amounts. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to tell you is that my counselor recently told me it might be a good idea to think about my negative thoughts as a character and talk to that person as though they are separate from myself. And so I wanted to thank you for giving me the character Carl, because I can't think of somebody better to blame for all my negative thoughts, obsessive thoughts, and to tell them to go to hell than to tell Carl to go to hell. Thanks, guys. Have an amazing day.
Ooh, we gave you 2 for 1 that time.
With 2 for 1. A DP, some might say. A DP
I love a good 2 for 1.
Yes, we do. Y'all, we did it because the first one was a little bit shorter. Again, we have a lot of fun in our Sissy Squad. And if you're not in the Sissy Squad, boy, as Poodle says, you're missing out.
You're missing out. We have fun in there.
We do have fun in there. So, Kim, thank you so much in Chattanooga.
Chattanooga is a beautiful city. Everywhere around it. It's kind of pretty COVID-y right now, but what are you going to do?
And that's what Kim brought up. A lot of us feel a little COVID-y and in the Sissy Squad, and y'all, we really try to do things to make y'all feel like there's a community, so you feel less alone in that. So,
and that's what's really helpful right now. Is if you're feeling alone, guys, just remember there's always someone else feeling alone.
Yep.
And no one is going to be annoyed by you reaching out.
Not in the Sissy Squad. If you're like, hey, you guys, I feel bored. We've had sissies say, you guys, I just feel lonely today. And then there's like 80 comments.
Yep.
So it is
We're
there.
All there. Speaking of we're all there, there's a dog across the street that's now barking, and I want to like rip its head off.
I can't hear it, but
good.
Y'all, thank you to TL.
TL. So this is a kind of a crossover because we on our Love After Lockdown Patreon, we were talking about Dubuque, Iowa.
You're gonna go to Dubuque, Iowa.
And it's gonna be a terrible place.
Terrible.
People with shoot you in your middle of your forehead.
Stay away from the nothing.
So Christiana's mother basically said Dubuque, Iowa is the hellmouth. And
we wanted to know, is it really that bad?
You know what? It's really nice, like any city. And she knows a policeman. She's blah blah blah. It's like any other city. It's beautiful here. And the best thing is she said that her counselor just told her that those negative voices, just name it. And then she named it Carl. So she's telling Carl to fuck off on the daily.
That is first of all, TL, you have a good therapist. That's a very narrative therapist thing to do, which is the type of therapist. But y'all, externalizing, I'm trying to use it to break a point. Miss, I get on soapboxes all the time and I just let you go. And we don't know what you're talking about, but something about fucking France that no one cares.
Degree in therapy.
But there's something great about externalization. So y'all, if you're feeling super anxious or you're feeling super depressed, there's a great way to, just say, what, I'm going to call my anxiety. Oh, what's a name that would go well with my anxiety? Poodle. I'm going to call my anxiety Poodle. And I'm going to say, Poodle, fuck off. I don't want to be anxious right now. Go put your head in the sand.
It's not a good idea to call your anxiety Poodle because I'm way too resilient. I'm more resilient than your anxiety.
Well, that's true. But no, it's a great exercise.
Don't go away.
Good for you, TL. Fuck Carl.
Fuck Carl.
Carl, I think you finally made it on the show. I don't know if it's good though.
He did.
Carl, I think you finally did it.
Carl's
Why
just
can't I just have this, Carl? I just wanted this.
Carl's
you gotta take everything.
Cleaning that gun. Just praying for the bravery.
Praying for bravery.
Anyway, thank you, TL. Thank you for our Sissy shout out. Sorry, Sissy spotlights. I just did like you did.
That felt so good.
I know. Should we move on to our shout outs?
Y'all, this first Sissy shout out goes to Kelsey. Oh wait, Felcy.
Jesus.
Felcy Ostapovich. Felcy.
I think that's right. Shockingly. Felcy Ostapovich.
Felcy Ostapovich. Y'all, Felcy Ostapovich, she grew up in a little town in Romania, and she was she had a special gene therapy that was probably illegal, but they put in DNA of Nadia Comaneci in Kelsey.
Oh.
So she really thought she was going to be a tumbler and a twirler and
or a gymnast.
Or gymnast. That's what they're called. Thank you. A tumbler and a twirler. And she really thought she was going to be a gymnast. Too. She thought she was going to be a gymnast, but instead, things didn't work out so well for FIANCÉ. She instead, became a very bendy sex worker in Amsterdam and made a lot of money. And at first she thought this was a bad thing. And then what happened is, y'all, she ended up writing a whole manual of how to get freaky with your loved one and be able to put your hand behind your legs. And she said, I'm going to call it the Kama Sutra. But then her teacher told her, they already have that book and it kind of does the same thing. So now she's
the name Kama Sutra.
Do what?
Where did she get the name Kama Sutra?
She read it on like a book at Borders, and she thought, well, that kind of looks like what I want to do, but I bet nobody knows what this Kama Sutra is. So which is really sad because she spent years developing this technique, and she was telling everybody, you guys, I'm not going to tell you the name yet, but when this catches on, this is going to be huge. So like she had a party at a bar, like her friends showed up, and she even like had a sign made saying it's going to be called Kama Sutra, and everybody just went, oh. And so anyway, y'all, so now she has an OnlyFans and she's fine.
Okay. Way to bounce back.
Way to bounce back, FIANCÉ Ostapovich.
My sissy shout out goes out to Felissa Padilla. Felissa Padilla. So y'all, when Felissa was younger, she would get kind of teased because they would just call her Felilla Padilla.
Mm.
And she decided Felilla Padilla because, it's Padilla. That's what because, she pronounces it more authentic. And she would correct them. And she was, no, it's not Felilla Padilla. It's Felia Padilla. So she became known as she chose her name. So she now goes by, she's like, I'm going to turn this into, like your shout out did. She turned it in and she spun straw into gold. So she now goes by Felia Padilla.
Oh, I like that.
Felia Padilla. She now has a whole line of, like pot holders that are there to kind of like, so you don't burn your hand. And she's kind of, so basically she did a whole thing of designer pot holders. But instead of holding pots, they are kind of like, you put them on so you can climb like clean up lube. So your hands can hold someone. So when you're raw dogging them, your hands don't get slippery.
Okay.
So when you can kind of clutch them, and they're very pretty. They have like those grip things.
Okay.
So you can hold on, and so whether you're a girl or two men or two girls, and so now these heavy grips slippery sex will never be a thing of the past. Now you can hold on when you're banging the fuck out of somebody. And Felia Padilla, it says on every single one of these, what are they called? Oh, I know this. They're just called,
I don't care.
Lube guards.
Okay.
So when you need that extra hold on. So she's been all over the country for these Felia Padilla lube guards. Mm-hmm. And strangely enough, who buys them more are towns like where they have more Baptist churches than anything else.
Well, that's
because
cool.
they like to get freaky and they like to use lots of lube. And as well as it turns out the problem is you have to use water-based lube because silicone makes the Philia Padilla fuck pads explode.
Okay.
Because she found that, unfortunately.
Lord can't get you when you're slippery.
And now she's under investigation.
Okay.
By the state of Alabama.
Okay.
Because they got a lot of Baptist churches, y'all.
They do.
I don't know where that went.
I don't.
110% accurate.
It was kind of hard to keep a hold of it.
It's just like people's lube bodies.
Y'all, that's the show. That's the show, whether you want it or not. That's the show, everybody. You can go to 90daygays.com to see our other shows. Again, be sure to subscribe to Sweet Tea. That's in the podcast feed. You can jump on that. I think there's like 14 or 15 episodes if you want to catch up on those. They're only about 30 or 40 minutes, so it's not even that long. You can listen to them while you're waiting to vote.
Are they only that long?
Yeah, they're not full hours because the show's only 45 minutes.
How did we start getting these episodes? They're so bloated.
Because 90 Day Fiancé has so much shit in every episode and it's 2 hours long.
2 hours long, yeah.
So there you go. And also you go off on tangents. And on that note, we're going to go, everybody. But we'll see you back.
No, who was that one about Kathy that you said? I'm still scratching my head about Kathy.
Don't bring up Kathy Farrell. She was a good person. All right, y'all.
That's it, y'all.
That's the show. Coming to us on Cameo. Coming to us at 90daygays.com. You can get all of our merch. Nut Poodle loves nothing more than when you leave a review.
Oh, the best.
5 stars. And if you don't know what to say, just say,
Keep going,
Queens. Mm-hmm. See, we said it together. And it was...
Not really. It's okay.
Anyway, y'all, Poodle, we call these people lonely hearts because aren't we all just lonely hearts looking for love in all the wrong places? Sorry, my phone started a call. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I fucking can.
Let's end this. Anyway, yes. And if you have worn your bikini upside down recently,